All right, good morning. What a treat to be here. It's my first time in this space, and in fact, I went to O. Henry's instead of O. Henry Street on my way here. I've lived in Asheville for 19 years, and so anyways, I'm happy to be here. I'm so pleased to be invited by Brandy and the other Creative Mornings crew, and so we're going to be talking about patterns in time. I know the topic is rhythm, and neither of us deeply embody rhythm, I would say.
Speak for yourself.
But we have worked out a rhythm as we've interwoven our lives, our professional lives in particular, and so we're going to share a little bit about that with you.
Thank you. It's so lovely to be here. I too haven't been here before. I have no sense of direction, so I was certainly no help on the O. Henry's versus O. Henry Street phenomenon, but it's wonderful to be here. These two pictures represent us in our different ways. This one on the right is obviously me with two, and in fact three, of my prevailing passions. We're in Crete, we're in Hania, and I have two cats on my lap. And these are not pet cats, these are random community cats who could obviously sense a cat whisperer when they saw them. And you can't maybe quite tell, but on my T-shirt is a representation of Theseus and the Minotaur. I have such an amazing amount of classics gear, mostly bought me by Amy for Christmas and birthdays. It's amazing what there is out here, so I'm wearing one of my favorites today that you can all admire.
So I am a nutritionist by training, a foodie by vocation, a gardener. The picture you see here is fruits of my labors, my garden labors. I guess it's sort of early summer, one June. I love to make food for people. I love to share feasts with small and large groups. My focus has been, and we alluded to this maybe early in our materials, my focus has been on teaching and encouraging people to eat more plant-based eating styles. I made a name for myself as a vegan nutritionist over the course of my career, and so that's an interesting thing. And when we first met. Do you want to?
When we first met and I heard she was a vegan nutritionist, I was a little worried, to be honest.
And I had to ask around to find out what a classicist was. Really. I really didn't know. So I think that actually brings me back really quickly to UNC Asheville and the power and meaning of a liberal arts education, which is something that I did not experience in my training before getting here.
Yes. This is Penny. Penny, she's now no longer with us, unfortunately, but she lived out her life in style and comfort and died a natural end. Penny, it's fair to say, was probably the luckiest piglet on the planet. She fell off the bacon truck and ended up in the arms of a vegan animal rights activist. Penny was the founding creature of Full Circle Animal Sanctuary, which was founded by our friend Kayla in Burnsville a few years ago. And we used to go and see Penny. She's absolutely lovely. She did sort of tread on people's feet occasionally, but she didn't mean to. There was a good sort of 600 or 700 pounds of her. She was a lovely, lovely animal. And we did some work for Kayla together on promoting the sanctuary and animal rights in general. This is not at all something that I'd been involved in up until now, though I've always very, very much liked pigs. So this was a way in which Amy and my lives started to be intertwined in a more sort of professional way, apart from just personally.
And I'll just add that Sophie wrote a paper on pigs in children's novels early on in her career, so already had this deep love of pigs. I had the opportunity to perform with a group called the Country Kings. Country Without the O for many years, almost 10 years, as a performance artist. This is me in a chicken costume, carrying a sign that says "Love Conquers All." And you can see behind me, you can see behind me Sophie in a cow costume.
Check out my udders.
And carrying a sign that says "Eat More Grass." When I first moved to the South, I had not experienced Chick-fil-A, and I was appalled by those signs. Eat more, the cows saying to eat more chicken, and not being able to spell, for goodness sake. I'm sure they can spell. And so, and I also had some concerns, and at least historically, about the politics of the Chick-fil-A company, which has been, at least historically, rather anti-LGBTQ. But in 2013, as part of a event on campus related to the Queer Studies Conference, I talked Sophie into doing a number, and basically an anti-Chick-fil-A number, or an anti-eating chickens as for breakfast, lunch, and dinner number.
Since the late 90s, I've been taking students from UNCA abroad to Greece and Turkey. We wander around Greece looking at ancient monuments and reading ancient Greek literature in translation. And it's always such an incredible joy to see people being in the place where it all happened, and sort of seeing what the Acropolis looks like, what Delphi looks like. This is actually a picture of Delphi. And the person in the foreground there is another Penny, Penny the Guide. If you ever go to Delphi, ask for Penny the Guide. She's absolutely fantastic. And so I was doing these trips quite regularly. You'll see that the last one that we did together was in 2015, and that is because I'm now a bit more involved in the abroad aspects of Asheville Sister Cities. And if you don't know about Asheville Sister Cities, you totally should know. Join. It's wonderful. In fact, the president of it is in the room. Jessica, could you stand up for a moment, just so everybody knows who you are? Please join. Please join Asheville Sister Cities. Thank you. So I've been going on these trips, and they're wonderful. They're such huge fun. The students are always lovely. They're always excited. And the question was, of course, these are, trips in Greece. I know about Greece. Greece is kind of what I do. But how could we get Amy on this same trip? And so we concocted a plan with the aid of the oracle.
The picture that's a little bit hard to see on the right side of the screen there is the omphalos. And the omphalos is... means belly button, and it was sort of a depiction of how Delphi was the center of the ancient Mediterranean world. So I love that thing. So I'm a foodie. I'm like, they have pretty healthy diets in the Mediterranean. Maybe I could teach a course on the foodways of the Mediterranean as we travel through Greece and Turkey. And this ended up being a great thing to do. I was able to do it for multiple years. We had quite a lot of fun learning about the agriculture. I think this is the olive trees from Mycenae, I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive about the location. This is a cooking class with students in Turkey that was taught by the Gordon Ramsay of Turkish cooking, apparently. This is spices in a spice market, and the picture on the far side there is another year of students just enjoying a meal together near the end of our trip as we sort of wound down in Athens. We also have the lovely baby pomegranate, which has both fertility and...
Yes, be careful if Hades offers you one, because you might be stuck in the underworld for 6 months.
But the beautiful thing, like Sophie was saying, the beautiful thing about teaching about food in the place where that food is grown, processed, cooked, and eaten really brings it alive.
Study abroad is amazing. It's wonderful. It's obviously the best experiential way to get a sense of a place and how it connects with its literature. But study abroad is not cheap, and you have to have some time to be able to do it. So we started to think about ways to make this kind of experience a little bit more accessible on campus for everybody to enjoy. And this connected with what I do in the classroom. I teach a lot of ancient Greek. And ancient Greek is wonderful, and it's also quite sort of obscure, and not many people necessarily want to or have the time to do it, on the one hand. And on the other hand, I think that ancient Greek literature in translation has still a huge amount to offer the 20th century, and it's been one of the sort of driving passions of my career at UNCA to take accessible, translated ancient Greek literature out of the classroom and bring it to a much wider community. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of in my almost 30-year career here at UNCA. So on the one hand, kind of accessibility. On the other hand, a very kind of specific skill that not many people have. And I was thinking in my ancient Greek classes, I'm there, they come, they translate for me, okay, fine, good, or maybe not so good, let's sort of correct it. But that was kind of it. It was kind of confined to the classroom. So I wanted to think of a way to kind of bring their unusual, exceptional skills, to give them the sense of, wow, I can do this thing that most people can't do, but bring it to a wider community to promote what we do. And so I came up with the idea of having my students in advanced Greek classes translate a Greek play, and then with that performance translation, usually with accessibility for non-specialists, a particular feature of that translation. There's loads of ways to translate, but this is typically the mode that we've gone for, to take that and give that to people to perform. And our drama department has been the most amazing collaborators with us. They've helped us all the step of the way. They've done all the kind of practical stuff of getting things performed. And you'll see on this slide that we've done now 6 versions of these. I have student translations of them all. We started in 2012 with Aeschylus's Oresteia. Now that is a trilogy. We kind of started at the top there, and it lasts about 6 hours if you're doing it end from end. And I think, however much one loves Greek tragedy, perhaps that's a bit of a hard call for people. So my students took an English translation of the Oresteia and cut it down. I think that was quite an interesting exercise. It's all about kind of adaptation and changing and kind of reworking and connecting and doing different things with some old material. So they chopped it down to form a rather kind of more manageable hour-and-a-half Oresteia. And the drama department put that on in 2012 for our first Festival of Dionysus. And you can see some of the other productions we've done. You'll see Spring 2020. Of course, we know what happened there. We were on course for a terrific Antigone, but obviously the plague gods got in the way there. And so our marvellous drama department reworked it into a radio play, which a lot of people watched. Obviously, that was now virtual. Anybody could access it. And it was that was a huge, wonderful example of kind of adaptation, of working with what we have in this century to bring the 5th century BCE stuff alive. Our most recent one was Euripides' Electra, which was just done earlier this year. And I hope to do at least one more before I retire.
Yes, I was just going to add that in the Electra, some of the directorial adaptations are interesting too. They took a character who was kind of a right-hand person and turned them into a dog in the production. So again, some folks thought it was really successful, others didn't, but it was that sort of, how do you make this more accessible to a modern audience?
These are just some of my favorite images from really the 2 that I think have been absolutely most successful, the Bacchae in 2016 and Medea in winter 2017. I think they were most successful because they are just such fantastic plays. You'll see this ecstatic Bacchant, second from the left. This is my former student Alden, who was a classics major and was also one of the Bacchic chorus. We have found, working with the drama department, we've found over the years there are kind of of good ways to collaborate. And one way is that once we've handed over the script to them, it's really good to have a couple of translators in the cast as well. Directors are amazing, and they sometimes have their own ideas about things, and it's good to have a translator saying, are you sure about this? And we've been very sort of successful collaborations with sort of a continuing connection between them as they put on their amazing productions. The two outer pictures on here are of our Medea in 2017. That was done by a wonderful student director called Grace Siplon. I'd had her in a first-year seminar several years ago, and she was a drama major, and she did a really terrific production. She's now a professional director somewhere else in North Carolina, but this was one of her first directorial assignments, and she did a really phenomenal job with it, and it was a really, really powerful production.
So one of the other things that often happened in festivals was an opportunity to improve health and healing and interface with folks who could help you do that. And you can see here a picture of a tunnel in Pergamum, where Pergamum, Turkey, where we went on a study abroad trip. One of the way these tunnels were used, at least according to the guides, were that the people who were looking for healing, that had come to be healed to this ancient, then not ancient, but now ancient site, would walk through the tunnel and hear voices of the gods speaking to them about what they needed to do to be more well. So the explanation was that the priests of that space would speak through those openings at the top. They would often do this, often do the walking through in the dark, and have this religious experience in a sense to help them understand what they needed to do to heal. And we tried to, in our festivals, make versions of this. We had, in one case, a room with a space inside the room where we had our health communication students write out some messages that might be generally helpful to people if they wanted to get better, drink more water, or those kinds of messages. And then they were also spoken in the ancient Greek through translations that Sophie did.
I learnt to do eat more vegetables in ancient Greek.
Darn right. And no, just teasing. This is Asclepius. He is the god of and father of ancient medicine. You can see a snake on his scepter. We also had Dr. Landon Ward, who studies snakes, came to one of the festivals with his snakes so that people could have a healing experience with snakes, or imagine having a healing experience with snakes. What they did in ancient times was put people lay people down in a room up on something with snakes on the floor, and there was meant to be healing transfer that would happen that way. And what's a festival without a feast? What's a festival without a feast? So each of these, we have had these kind of marvelous events where usually they're outside, although this one was inside, where 200, 300, sometimes even a little bit more, people come for a free meal that has been made by students. The money raised for the ingredients through fundraisers that we did ahead of time. And they get to try foods that might have been made from recipes from ancient times that might have been made in the ancient world. We tried to, as often as possible, use ingredients locally. One festival year we did both a Southern Appalachian menu and so that's what you're seeing here is the Southern Appalachian menu, and then the other table is the ancient Greek menu. The plants you see over here on the far right were grown by another faculty member, another biology faculty member, and he would prepare for these festivals by starting because they were usually in April or May, we had one in the winter, starting his plants under the greenhouse of the campus garden to be able to donate them to the work. And he also brought his student learning into it as well from the perspective of learning about the ancient plant world. And then finally, we've got sweets, mostly just mixtures of honey, nuts, and dried fruit, where the sweets, the ancient recipes were quite simple, and somebody enjoying stirring the cauldron of soup.
Oh, just a side note on Dr. Clark, who grows the vegetables. He also takes ancient Greek with me. Again, I think that speaks to UNC Asheville and the power of a small liberal arts institution, that these kind of strange, weird, and wonderful collaborations can take place like this.
So we've been able to take some of these collaborations and bring them into our scholarly productivity as well, which is neat. We've been able to measure the impact of some of the festivals of Dionysus. We had the opportunity to go to Sardinia to speak at a, so this is where creativity comes in, to speak at a Tourism Naturally conference. Neither of us are in tourism, but we figured out a way to make that work. I think we spoke on something like ancient festivals and feasts, and then something like intellectual sustenance through tourism. So this is us there, and you want to take it away on the...
Sure, yeah. I've actually published quite a lot on my Greek tragedy collaborations and translations with undergraduates. As far as I know, there is nobody else in any classics department in the States that does quite this kind of thing, so people have been very receptive to it. And in 2015, Amy and I presented at the Classical Association of the Middle West and South in Boulder, Colorado. Not quite so exotic as Sardinia, but still obviously pretty nice. And we were invited to publish in the Classical Journal. So even though I don't think, Amy, you would sort of claim to be any sort of classicist, you have a line on your CV that has you published in a very kind of respectable classical journal, and I think that's really cool.
It's definitely an honor. It's definitely an honor. So, and it's interesting, I think, because I still don't speak a lick of ancient Greek. I can say about 10 words in modern Greek, but...
they're all food related, right?
I even call my car melanzana, which is eggplant. So, come full circle, come back around full circle. We have continued these exchanges and collaborations over the years. I talked Sophie into doing some more performance art, and one of my favorite pieces that we did together was a piece where she was a pig, which sort of makes sense from her deep love of pigs, and I was a 4-H'er, and on the eve of taking my pig to the fair, I let my pig open the gate, let my pig go, and this is, by the way, if anyone knows the song, Dar Williams' song "Iowa." That was the backdrop for this piece, and the pig. We both are very sad. The pig comes back around, doesn't get put back in the pen, and we enjoy eating an apple together.
Very trusting pig, I must say.
So, anything else you want to?
I think that's what I had to say, really.
All right. So that's us. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Yes, thank you. Give it up for the doctors.